I am inside the 2017 GMC Acadia Denali. And let me tell you something. It's quite luxurious. And I think everything is going for it except for a few things. But what I do like are the seats. They're heated and cooled. They're multi-adjustable in the rear. I have an electronically controlled steering wheel, so it goes up and down and in and out, and I'm always a sucker for that. And basically, I have all the tech in here except for some things I'm used to in GM products like Pandora, but I still have Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, GPS navigation, and a touchscreen display. I have automatic climate control front and rear, and I also have garage door buttons integrated. This car has an optional dual sunroof, and in addition to that, it has the tech package, which includes radar cruise control and auto emergency braking and lane keeping assist, and a backup camera that also accommodates trailers. So you can actually line the car up to your trailer hitch, which is really cool. I have a V6 engine in here that produces 310 horsepower. And with that engine, even though it may seem a little overkill, I think it's just perfect, especially with the four-wheel drive system in here. However, there are some things in here that don't make too much sense to me, and that's because this truck is trying to be all things to all people. It's actually two vehicles in one, mainly because with a V6 that has all-wheel drive, you could basically tow, or you can go off-road to an extent, or you can tune it back to two-wheel drive, and at the same time the V6 will become a four-cylinder and basically deactivate two cylinders while you're cruising. So you go from a plentiful SUV to an economical SUV without getting out of the driver's seat. And that's a good thing, right? Now, there are a few things I've discovered with this Acadia while I had it for a week. And mostly, the fuel economy has averaged 21.1 mpgs, and that's okay for a V6, even though they have shrunken the Acadia for this year and they have shed 700 pounds somehow. I think the GMC Acadia is better than the Volvo XC90, believe it or not. You can actually get 6 passengers in here. You can opt for the middle row to be a bench, so you can actually fit 7 people in here. But with the optional double sunroof and with the electronic suspension that instantly adjusts dampening to either a sporty feel or a nice silky smooth road feel, you're getting a vehicle that still has a V6 engine. You haven't been forcibly downsized in an SUV. And if you go with a lot of competitors these days, you'll notice 4-cylinder turbos are pretty much what's left on the menu. But with GMC's Acadia Denali, you still get a plentiful 310 horsepower V6. And to me, that is important because you're no longer straining to get on the freeway and you're no longer struggling to tow. Now, I have a 6-speed automatic transmission. It's pretty robust. I have all-wheel drive and two-wheel drive. Little side note is the two-wheel drive is actually front-wheel drive. So there are only 2 things in here that I would really complain about. Number 1 is the wood grain is fake, and that's a shame because it's the first thing I see when I get in this car. And the second thing is there are no trunk lights. So even though you're looking for a third row seat in a vehicle and you go, hey, look, I opened the trunk and there's that third row, what you're not going to pay attention to are the missing lights. And I found that out the hard way the other night when I was trying to get the groceries out of the back. I couldn't see them. It was too dark. So it's almost like an afterthought, which is not that good. Otherwise, this thing's a dream. I actually have a rear seat reminder. So basically, if you open the rear doors before you start the vehicle or while the vehicle is running, and when you stop the vehicle and get out, you'll get a reminder saying, there's something in their back seat. Because it knows the door was opened between the last time you used it, which is really cool. I like that. The electronic steering on here is the only downside. In two-wheel drive mode, it's the biggest problem for me because it's hard to keep it in the lane. I do have electronic assistance, so it's basically keeping me within the lane. It's going to look to see if I'm going to encroach on the next lane, so it's going to steer me back in. But just driving this thing in two-wheel drive mode without the lane keeping, especially on a windy day, it's about as easy to drive as it is to take a piano upstairs. So I keep it in four-wheel drive mode. Now it's very quiet in here and it's very, very smooth. Even the brakes are strong, nice and strong brakes. If you're getting into the sportiest of moods, you can actually go to this checkered flag here, and now the suspension instantly beefs up and becomes firmer and sportier and reduces body roll, and now you feel a lot more of the road. And that's great if you have passengers in the back who may get car sick easily. You can tune them out. I like the fact that the adjustable suspension is instantaneous. You hit the button, it's done. It's automatic. So if you have 1 or 2 seconds to respond to whatever is coming up on the road ahead, you can hit that switch and you're set. Also, you can change this from two-wheel drive to four-wheel drive on the fly. I wouldn't take this mountaineering. There are other vehicles for that, obviously. But it's nice to have a system that I can count on when I need it. If you're going to look for efficiency, there's a 4-cylinder, 2-liter turbo version of this with two-wheel drive. And if you get all-wheel drive, it's basically a clutched system. I do have manual mode on this transmission. It's the button on the top to downshift and up for upshift, but I don't use it. That's the end of this review. Shocking, isn't it? The fact is, I like it a lot more than the Volvo XC90. I don't get paid to do these reviews. I do them for you. So if you enjoy these videos and you want to watch more, please subscribe. Thanks a lot. I guess it's time to give you a glimpse of what this V6 engine sounds like when you open it up. So I am in sport mode. I'm going to make this turn here. So it's much more powerful than what you'd expect. All those 310 ponies are there to satisfy Dad. Mom will be satisfied with all the seats and all the luxury in the back. And I think basically this is a great family car. Now, of course, I do have a backup camera and parking sensors front and rear, and a 360 camera on top of that. But it's all here. All the tech is here. There's really nothing for me to talk about because everything you expect is here and it all works. GM has done a really good job with their navigation systems, their backup cameras, with perspective. They have everything here. So all I can tell you is, too bad it doesn't have trunk lights. That's about it. They did a really good job otherwise. Thanks for watching.